Greetings Diecast Racing fans, Sharky here and welcome back to Sharky's Garage for another diecast unboxing. So this package arrived this morning. I have a fairly good idea what's inside it, so I've covered the address up and I'm going to unbox it for you. It should be interesting. I haven't seen a review of one of these online. I have seen it used online when I was looking into it. And I got a really good bargain on this on Facebook Marketplace. But before we get into that, don't forget to do the usual things, like, comment and subscribe. I've taken the paper off and it's in its original box. So this is a Hot Wheels XV Grand Prix, which has electro racers. But I am told, and I have seen videos where this connects to Crash Racers track. It may be the origination of the design for the Crash Racers track. It also has some nice unique bits in it. You're able to make multiple different tracks with it. So I am going to open the box up and show you what's inside. But as per usual with my unboxings, we're going to go over the box. So, a lot of foreign language stuff on here. Circuit de Carreras, XV Grand Prix race set. I think this was European only, I'm not certain. 2 working pit stops, which will be very useful. Has got crash barriers. Motorised XV racers. I don't know whether I've got the vehicles or not in here. I think I have. Multiple track layouts. And this was sponsored when it came out by Ferrari, McLaren, Williams F1, Ford Stewart Grand Prix and Jordan Grand Prix Racing, which shows the age of it. Adult assembly recommended. Right, on to the end of the box. Look at the top, it's just pretty straightforward. Bottom shows a little bit about the section there with the, sorry, the lights are not helping very much, with the pit lane, which charges them up. Now onto the back, which gives a little bit more to give away. Right, so shows that you've got pit lanes either side and you can pull the cars in to charge them up. I don't know whether it worked with the Crash Racers ones, I'm not sure. But I'm not going to use it for that, I'm going to use it for standard Hot Wheels. But working pit stands for charging it, you basically press down to charge the vehicles up and then they spin off. You control the pit stop timing because you can run them into the garage by pressing the little bit on the side. Should be over 7 meters of dual lane track in here. It takes about 10 seconds to recharge it. Drafting and passing action. And then down here, the vehicles that we'd got. So you can see here the F1 cars. So Jordan, McLaren, Ferrari, not sure which one that one is, and the Stewart. And then you've got quite a few others, including trucks, the Hot Wheels ones. Right, we're at nearly 4 minutes. Let's get the box open, Sharky, and get down to it. Right, I've opened the end of the box. I'm going to pull the stuff out and then we'll go through it. Long straights, bends. These are 2 of the key bits that I wanted this set for, which are the pit stop areas. Get those out. There are some shorter straights. There are some supports. I'm just going to get it all out and then come back to you. Right, there was a lot in the box, so I've got it all out and I'll go through it all in front of you. I've pulled out a couple of Lotuses because I'm preparing for the Lotus competition. The key things that I'm interested in are these pits. If you press on this, it diverts the cars in through there for the recharging. These slide onto the underside to give raise and banking. I will find some crash races out to show you in comparison whether they are the same or different. Give me 1 second. Right, so the Lotuses are there for scale to show that there is plenty of room for 2 cars. There we've got 3 different lengths of track. We've got a very short piece, but unlike the crash races, there is not the ribbing on it, so that could be interesting for moving them around. Profile underneath looks very similar. I don't think this is a cut piece. I think this was an original piece. I don't know quite where that comes into it. We've got one very small piece. We've got 4 shorts, which I don't know whether they're, yeah, I think they are half lengths. I wish I'd have known that before I cut the crash races one in half for doing the other track I'm building. So that's a quarter, they're halves, and that's full length. This is a section of crash races track, which is the same length as the full length, but the crash races, as you can see, has ribs on it, whereas this one doesn't. Side profile, crash races has more of a lip and has a square underneath profile, whereas these are more angular. It could be because these are designed so that these will slide on, support the track. I don't know whether that will work on the crash races or not. Yeah, slides a little bit too easily. You look there, you can see that they're not, there's a little bit of difference on the spacing, whereas maybe. So, smooth, not ribbed, same as that, same length. So that's going to work. Let's put the straights to one side. Oh, well, actually, I'll leave 2 out because we're going to look at joins. So it comes with 3 of these join packs, because you've got the pit lane, so you can join a long length onto a pit lane and then another one. Long lengths in the pack, we've got 4 long lengths and we've got 4 half lengths, and then the quarter. So quite a bit of track in there. These really cool. I like how this goes together. I may take pictures of this and talk to Mr. Eric Slan at Slanman Customs, see whether we could look at something like this for crash races, because those are really good joins, fully supporting it. And we're getting a really nice tight butt join there. Really like those. I'm sure we could potentially do something like that, 3D printing wise. So those are those and the joiners. We spoke about these are ramp sections or bridge for maintaining the angles. Got that looks like a flat, and that's not, but you don't know quite how that's working, but it's not, well, yeah, it is just going in there. I don't know why those ones are as they are. I would have to look into that a little bit, because it looks like that's onto there, unless some interaction between this. If it's, oh, that sits on the joiner maybe for an elevated section. Interesting. So we've got two of these which appear to be relatively flat, two minimal bank angles and two quite bank angles. I will find out either from the box or see if I can find an online manual for this. Well, there were no cars in the pack, so but that's okay because I didn't want it for the cars. This is also really useful, this crash fencing, because I think that this is my crash racers will potentially, yeah, no, because of the height it doesn't, but that doesn't mean that I can't notch some of this to make it work, but it does work with this. So if I use this track where I need to have a crash barrier up the side, we can get a nice fitting crash barrier. Again, Eric Slan, something like this on a 3D printed for crash races would be really cool, because it doesn't come over the lip side there and it will keep stuff in. And I suppose you could put one on each side. Like so. I really like that. That's really cool. So we've got 4 of those. Let's talk about the bends. So you've got 3 like this, 3 like this. Now these have got the ribs on them. If we look in comparison, this is a Crash Racers one. This is the thing. They are the same. 1997 Mattel. This one doesn't have that on the back of it, but they're very much the same profile. Although looking at that there, different there. So I think they've got a different banking to them. Yeah, so these are higher banks looking at this. because this is your entry and this is your entry. If I can get sideways on, holding both down, so that there is quite a high angle. That appears to be a lower angle. I don't know. A lower entry angle. I can't really tell. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that the Hot Wheels is a more banked turn. It's the same interlocking system. So we've got those two wheel go together, and you have got, so this is the Crash Racers section, middle section. This is the Hot Wheels middle section. Again, profile appears very, very similar. Crash Racers looks to be on a slightly different angle, as if they've just tweaked the mould so that they don't get done for copyright. But they may connect in together. And looking at that, I think they're slightly shorter. The Crash Racers are slightly shorter, a slightly more angle, because that one sits inside there. And I think if we take two of those, yeah. So if we've got two of those lined up there, we've got a step over at the edge there. Yeah. Crash Racers. There. Maybe. No. Maybe they are the same. So you get three sets of banks in this kit, and they appear, apart from small difference here, to be the same, although as I say, I think the Hot Wheels one has a steeper entry. Let's have a look. Let's see if I can show you. There. I can see it at a lower level. Let's see if I can get the camera dropped down to show you. One sec. Right. Can see there, I think, that the Crash Racers is not so steep an entry. So that's a small interesting difference between the two. So this set has three sets of banks. Again, it appears that there are two of these to go for each one. Right. So in the Crash Racers set, you get an X crossover. This is the one that I use for the finish line at Vulcan Raceway, with my bump stop on the far end. So that's all that connected there. But what I may be able to do going forward is use one of these two pits, which will be really cool. They are longer. They are the length of a full length, slightly longer than a full length piece. The track does join on, as we can see there. This is the battery box. This is the motorised system. Obviously, pressing this down, spring loaded, opens it up, pulls the cars off the track and through the pit there. Okay, and you can see there the bit where the wheels drop into. This pushes down onto the vehicle to hold it down onto the contacts to charge it up, and then you do so to flip it off on its way. I've got two of those. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to use them. The video is getting quite long now, so I'm going to pull things to a close. But as I say, I've got the two Lotus Esprit, here my blue one and my multi-winning white one. So when I rebuild the track, you will see at least one of these, possibly this one, because it still works. It's just missing its lever off the side here. Coming into play. I'm not sure where around the track, but yeah. I got this for a steal. I've seen these tracks going online for up to £50 and I didn't pay that for it. Big shout out to Cuboid. He messaged me and said, "Hey Sharky, have you seen this?" And I went, "No." He said, "Well, I've got a couple of these. I thought you might be interested." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." It was online for £5 plus postage on eBay, and there was 6 days to run. With about an hour to run, nobody had bid, so I put a bid in, and nobody else did bid, so I got it for the opening bid of £5 plus postage. So I think I got an absolute steal, because I've got barriers, I've got the different length straights, I've got a lot more sections of straight track, which will help me in building new and interesting tracks. One of which I'm working on is it's been themed around the barrel roll, because obviously the wing over is a aerobatic manoeuvre completed by aeroplanes. A barrel roll is also something that is completed by aeroplanes, and because it's Vulcan Raceway. So that's it for today. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Please drop us something down in the comment section, any questions or anything like that. And I look forward to responding to you. I look forward to putting this into action and seeing what we can do with it. And yeah. I may look out for some more of this track. I really like these crash barriers. I'm sure they'll get really useful, because the barrel roll track is going to be interesting. So they may be useful as far as that's concerned to stop cars leaving the track. And we don't want any more 3D bot maker style fatalities, do we? Anyway. Next week we will be back to the Lotus shootout, and I'll catch you all then.